everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Praise the Run, episode 25. I'm Ben, and this is my co-host Patrick. Patrick McKinstry.
That's me.
Litterdud. Shit, dude. It's been another week. Video games have been played.
They have
Not
been.
by me.
No, I played
No.
a little bit.
You did? That's good. I played Liza P, the demo, but I don't know if we talked about that last week or
You talked about.
if I said I was going to start.
Yeah, you played. Yeah, you said you were gonna start the actual game, but we talked about the demo.
Yeah, I played the demo. I never got to start the game.
That's as far as I got in the actual game.
Yeah.
Was the
demo.
the length of the demo? I got to the final boss. And then I just haven't been able to get back to it since then.
Yeah. I had my complaints last time we talked about it about like the dodge rolls and stuff.
Mhm.
I guess that is fixed in the main game.
It's not. Yeah, it's a little smoother. It's still like its own
Yeah.
thing or whatever. Like it's definitely like this character does this and not that,
Yeah.
you know, but like
It is confirmed. No, the dodging is different from the demo to the game.
Yeah.
They have said that. I guess I never paid attention that they put out that demo and then people complained about the dodging and they're like, okay, we'll rework it for the main game. So
Right.
the main game, it does play differently.
yeah.
And that was my one gripe about it was the dodging. So
Yeah, it's definitely a lot smoother.
yeah,
All of it. All overall, like even just everything I think is a little bit smoother.
yeah,
I just spent more time like I guess through the demo I was just kind of like running through it, you know, but as we're in the game I was like, "Oh, let me look for every
Look
little
around.
thing cuz
Yeah.
this is a little more, you know, long game mode. I got to think about the future and stuff.
for sure.
Where
Like,
are the collectibles and
I mean, that's like the fun part about all those games.
Oh,
is
absolutely,
Going like
yeah.
down every corner and finding like weird weapons that you'd never used or something like that, but you
Right.
gotta have it. Yeah, I'm really excited now, especially for playing the main game. Now, knowing that the demo is different.
yeah.
Not different story-wise, of course, because it's just a segment of the game, but that's the one thing I had play-wise that was a problem, and if it's addressed, then that makes me excited. You said you played other games, though? Do you play anything else?
Mostly just that and Party Animals and
Hell yeah.
Rocket League. Just
Hell yeah.
trying to keep my mediocre rank consistent.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Not much else other than those.
Well, I mean, that's still quite a bit of stuff, and
Yeah.
Party Animals and Liza P is two of the subjects I have pulled up. We'll talk
nice.
about it for the news. We can just start reading off some of this crazy shit that happened this week. Not a lot of crazy shit. This was actually a really slow week.
Yeah.
Even though TGS was this week, TGS didn't really have a lot of new stuff. It seemed like. Liza P has a Metacritic right now of 80. 8 out of 10. We got a lot of glowing reviews. A lot of them. We got Game Informer up here with a 95 out of 100.
Yeah.
Liza P's greatest strength is how it rewards and empowers you at every turn to venture further through the twisted tale of puppetry and monstrous humanity. Despite its oppressive world and formidable enemies, I struggled to pull myself away from Liza P, even when it had me fuming. Let's see. Comicbook.com gave it a 90 out of 100. This feels like a spiritual successor to Bloodborne, and if you had this as a sequel to the From Software story, you could get away with it. If you're a fan of the Soulsborns and want to add a spice of rewarding difficulty to your gaming career, you must check out Liza P. We got any low reviews? There's not a lot of low reviews. Most of these are mid 80s to hundreds, you know? Like,
I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's cool too because it's like familiar characters, you know? So you're like
Right.
wanting to continue and see what they've done with this twist, which is another thing. You're not like learning something new as like kind of just re-visualizing something you already know, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's nice. It's easier to follow along, I guess.
Yeah. In the last bombcast, they spoiled what is the end credit sequence.
Oh, really?
Or not the end credit sequence, the after credit sequence. So once you beat the game and run credits, there's the tease to what their next game is going to be.
Oh, interesting.
I haven't seen it for myself,
Right.
but you get 2 red shoes that click together,
Oh, interesting.
and you know,
Huh.
that's Wizard of Oz right there. We're gonna get a whole series of these like public domain,
Yeah, just like
weird,
fictional, fable-y.
yeah.
So that's what they're called. That's what even there's something in there that's called like Fable. It's like a Fable power-up or something.
Oh, really?
It's like your special move or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder how far down the Fables run are they going. I mean,
Instead
the
of-
actual IP now of Fables, was that last week? The creator just put all of that in public domain
Oh, wow.
recently, like The Wolf Among Us and all of those, like all of that's public domain now. So that's one thing. But when I hear Fables, of course, I think of Brothers Grimm and all of those.
Right.
And that would be interesting. Just like the Gingerbread Man, Hansel and Gretel, like
Which is another possibility for sure.
Yeah, that would be sick as hell. The other side of that, I mean, Wizard of Oz is a wonderful place. Like Return of Oz would be a perfect soul setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so much variety, and it's already a crazy world, especially if they went off of the more original art designs and stuff, because that was creepy from the get-go.
Yeah, a lot of that world is super creepy.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna go down the Lewis Carroll Alice in Wonderland route as well.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. I mean, the Alice Madness Returns is fine. American McGee's Alice. But it ain't a Souls-like.
Right.
And-
yeah, that was definitely more of like just a game, like a child's game. Not really a child's game,
No,
but like, you know.
that game is hard. That game is straight up. There's some boss fights in there that are hardcore action bosses, but it's not as deliberate.
Right.
It's like more of a Devil May Cry or something like that. But even Devil May Cry is fast, and you're like juggling that. This is like you're going in with a heavy attack, and then like I don't know. It's definitely a 3D platformer.
Yeah.
I would love to see something of that. The other thing, because you mentioned it, I have another Metacritic review thing roundup pulled up. Party Animals. The critic reviews are in. We got a 77 out of 100 average.
Huh.
We got a lot of 80s in here. Twinfinite gave it an 80. Party Animals brings a unique and adorably new experience to the table in the world of online multiplayer brawlers, helping contribute to a niche of the genre that is growing increasingly in popularity. While not absolutely groundbreaking, the game definitely brings a clever formula of its own, making it well-curated, clearly made. And then I have to read the full article. Clearly made with love, an incredibly enjoyable party. There are plenty of laughs that get thrown around with just as many punches. Whether you want to be top dog or cat or goose, it is entirely up to you. Let's get some of these lower reviews in. We got IGN, Game Rant, Games Radar, all gave it 7s. Let's pull up this IG one. With a smooth online multiplayer, a handful of mostly distinct maps, and a downright adorable characters, Party Animals delivers a fun party game that brings cuddly, chaotic fun where it counts the most. The intentionally wobbly controls takes a moment to get used to, but once you do it, it's wonderfully satisfying to land a punch and send another player flying into an environmental hazard for a KO. It does commit an all too common cardinal sin for contemporary multiplayer games, making local play less enjoyable than going online, but all 3 main modes are a good time, especially in a full lobby of 8 players.
Yeah. It's really fun.
Is it? I do want to check it out, but it's a multiplayer game,
I mean, it's a party game. I wasn't expecting anything like they said, groundbreaking,
Crazy.
like nothing new to be,
Yeah.
I figured it was just gonna be another. I mean, we've had party games since the first console, even.
Right.
It's not.
Right, for sure. It's definitely been fun watching people play
Yeah,
it.
it's definitely like a fun game. It has new, mini games that you probably haven't played before
Yeah.
and stuff. But
Hell yeah. Yeah, I need to touch it at least a little bit. I want to feel how wobbly
it's
it
very
actually
wobbly.
is.
Yeah, it's
And
very
stuff.
loose. It's very hard to properly aim
Yeah.
and stuff. So there's a lot of you go for a air kick or something and then just completely miss and everyone's laughing, and even when you're losing, I guess you're kind of having a fun time because it's just so silly and all over the place.
Yeah, being able to pick up people and throw them off and stuff like that.
Right, very
It's
funny.
so
Yeah,
fun.
a lot of that.
It looks great. I don't know. It's crazy how long it did take for this game to come out. I feel like they announced it in 2019 or something like that. It is an indie studio. Who knows how small they are, but I feel like this game was announced so long ago. Now that it's finally out, I don't know if it needed to be announced that early.
Right. Yeah.
But I get it. People have been excited for it because it's been shoved in their face so much.
And it was they announced it before the pandemic, so that might have also slowed it down a little bit too.
For sure. Yeah, that was probably a big factor in that.
Unfortunately, because if they had released it during the pandemic, it probably would have doubled.
Right. I mean, it was day one Game Pass,
Yeah.
and it's always been touted as a day one Game Pass game. So I wonder if it would have done better, but it seems like it's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Which
No.
is great.
Yeah, I still think it's fun.
Let's see. Let's start getting through these bigger ones. Actually, I got one more small one before we start getting in these bigger things and updates and stuff. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is coming to Steam.
Oh, cool.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 will be available through Steam now that its 3-year exclusivity agreement with Epic Games has expired. Originally released in 2020, the remake comes to Steam on October 3rd, though no price point has been announced. As well as a standard edition, there's a digital deluxe edition of the game that features a handful of in-game items for players to unlock. And enemies, which I think that I'm on Enemy, 5-star review of the remakes. The games were described as a love letter to the forgotten genre that bound to inspire a whole new generation of characters. All of that just shrank in my mind into one sentence. When the muscle memory comes back and you start stringing together impossible lines throughout the game's exotic remastered environments, you only feel like a skateboarding superhero, wrote Jordan Olamon. Last year it was revealed that the remakes of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 were originally on the agenda before Vicarious Visions was merged into Activision Blizzard. Activision were trying to find someone to do 3 and 4, but they didn't trust anyone to do it the way Vicarious did. So they took other pitches from other studios, like what would you do with the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater title, and they didn't like anything they heard, and that was it. Said Tony Hawk. Yeah. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is coming to Steam 3 years later. I don't know. There's two ways that this could be important, where it's just the game living on, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
The other part is, now that Xbox owns Activision, what are we going to... Are we going to start seeing these legacy games and stuff like that come on the modern consoles and stuff? And are we going to see sequels to all of these legacy titles and stuff like that?
That's true.
Will Spencer has talked a lot about Hexen and all of these like weird spin-off Activision things from back in the day, and it's all talk, of course, but like you don't spend $70 billion on a company to just have Call of Duty and Candy Crush. Actually, Candy Crush, there was something I needed to pull up too, but yeah, it is crazy that 3 years is the exclusivity window. That's a long time. Usually we get like 6 months to a year. Not a lot of that 3-year window. That's a lot. That's way too much. Candy Crush players. Speaking of Candy Crush, this article is older, but it started making their rounds again recently. The new generation of mobile game Candy Crush Saga has marked a massive presence in the market with over $1 billion in revenue. It is one of the first freemium apps to generate such high revenue. King is the second largest Facebook gaming publisher, launched Candy Crush. By launching this popular free game, King was rending well on Facebook. Between 2012 and 2013, Candy Crush increased King's revenue by 1,084%.
Wow.
The game competed with Clash of Clans, the highest grossing game from 2013 to 2017. As of 2022, Candy Crush is reported to generate almost $607 million in revenue in the U.S. While Candy Crush Saga ranks 10th in the market, it still leads the game in the series. This might not be all of the updates that I needed. There was a new update recently that said that Candy Crush has finally hit 5 billion downloads.
Wow.
That's 5 billion downloads is half the population of the world.
Yeah, but how many of those downloads are like the same person
Right.
15 times?
Well, yeah, but even then...
I mean, it's still a lot. Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know if that... You're right. I don't know if that means downloads per... I would imagine that means downloads per hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you delete the app, it still registers as you purchased it. Yeah. So that wouldn't count as a re-download.
That's true.
In their eyes. They see it as...
And that's from the very beginning? Candy Crush is like 20 years old or something like that.
2012 is what it said.
Wow.
Which I feel like it might have been older than that. Let's see. Yeah, 2012. Its first year made $77 million. And now we're at 1,139. That's $1 billion. $1.139 billion or something.
That's crazy.
Fucking insane. Yeah, that's crazy. Candy Crush is just as big as it used to be and is still going. And that's part of the reason why Xbox just bought all that up. The CMA has finally approved the Xbox Activision deal, so that will be going through. I don't have anything pulled up for that because I just got reminded of it. But this was 6 days ago. Microsoft's Activision Blizzard deal gets preliminary approved for the UK regulator. This is from The Verge. Tom Ricker wrote this. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority has given preliminary approval for Microsoft to proceed with its $69 billion Activision deal. The CMA had originally blocked the acquisition over cloud gaming concerns, but Microsoft recently restructured the deal to transfer cloud gaming rights for current and new Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft. In a memo to employees, Xbox Phil Spencer called it a positive development and welcome an indicator that our hard work is bringing us closer to our goal. The CMA considers that the restructured deal makes important changes to substantially address the concerns it set out in relation to the original transaction earlier this year. The CMA said in the press release and opens the door to bring the deal being cleared. This is just a preliminary decision ahead of the final approval. The CMA says it's now open a consultation to gain third-party feedback on Microsoft's proposed remedies until October 6th, and the final decision is expected to extend before the extended October 18th deadline. Another step closer. CMA is like, hey, we're good. And you did the thing that we wanted. We don't want you to have a monopoly on cloud gaming in 10 years.
Right.
So Xbox was like, fuck it, we'll just give it to Ubisoft and put it on their platform. And yeah, that's that. That's really all the news from it. It's Ubisoft is gonna be creating their own cloud streaming service, and Activision Blizzard will be going through that. I mean, it's no different than it's like Activision games don't get published. Activision games get published here, but like if they come out in Japan, like Call of Duty and stuff, it's published by Square Enix. They're still made by Activision, but published out there through Square Enix.
Right.
So it'll be a lot of that. We'll see a lot more of like, oh, this game is made by Xbox, but Ubisoft is publishing it, kind of thing. That seems like the way that they're going to do it. But it'll only be cloud. It's not physical releases. It's only the cloud version of it. So it's interesting. We'll see what that means in 10 years. We don't really know where cloud gaming is going to be, if it's going to be like the main way we play games, or if it's going to be a tool that's in games. Streaming games is one thing, but like unless you have like decent internet, you're not streaming a fighting game or anything like that.
Right.
So it's starting to. The future is weird with this stuff. Speaking
It's
of
becoming too powerful. We're all trying to buy all the games.
Yeah. I think streaming's becoming better, but it's not 100% there yet. But people are playing like PS5 games on their phone with a backbone on.
Yeah.
And it works fine. People are playing Forza on their phones with an Xbox backbone on, and it's fine. I'm definitely not the market for it, but I do find it interesting. I'd at least want to give it a try.
Yeah.
Speaking of giving it a try, that's not a good segue. Unity apologizes, partially walks back continuous monetization scheme. In quotes, I am sorry. This is by Cal Adam from Push Square. After doing a terrible job of communicating a controversial new pricing scheme, Unity Technologies has again apologized for the confusion and angst caused and walked back some of its terms. Looking at responses from developers in the community, it doesn't seem like nearly enough. In an open letter to the community published Friday, Mark Whitten, responsible for both the Unity engine and editor teams, said, I am sorry. We should have spoken with more of you, and we should have incorporated more of your feedback before announcing a new runtime fee policy. Our goal with the policy is to ensure that we can continue to support you today and tomorrow and keep deeply investing in our game engine. As such, the Unity personnel plan remains free, and no runtime fee will be levied on games built in Unity Personal or Plus plans, and only applying to the Pro and Enterprise. The cap will be increased from $100,000 to $200,000, and developers won't be required to include the Made with Unity splash screen. The installation fee is still a factor, but it won't be applied retroactively, instead affecting those who install the upcoming LTS, or long-term support version, which will be released in 2024. How anyone could be how anyone could be game enough to start a new project on the platform after all this is anyone's guess. But supposedly we'll know in time. Basically, like, hey, we fucked up, but like, we don't think we fucked up that much.
Right. You guys are overreacting.
Yeah. We're gonna. It looks like they took away the download thing. Like, it will just be purchases. At least that's what it seems like. But it's just I don't see any Unity games coming out in the next 5 or after 5 years from now.
Not with this. Yeah, definitely gonna take more than like. Oops.
Yeah, we're gonna get like the last handful of them within the next year or two, and that's probably it for Unity. Most people are going to like Godot and like Modoff and RPG Maker and Unreal.
Right.
So like,
yeah.
Unity doesn't need to exist anymore if it's going to be like this, and that's just how it be.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of other options, which might have been like maybe why they did this. They're like, oh, we need. I don't know. I still don't know. I still don't understand it.
Yeah,
it's very silly.
I don't think we'll understand it completely until it's actually in effect.
Yeah.
Or they start rolling stuff out, because right now it's just like, we're gonna do this, so then everybody's scrambling on trying to figure out what that means for their company.
Yeah.
And then we had everybody calling out Unity and being like, I'm never gonna work with Unity again. And then several times since then they've been like taking away parts of their like initial announcement, like, we're gonna charge for pirated copies and stuff like that. That's not in the thing anymore, right, and stuff like that. So I'll see, even if in a month, that this might not exist anymore. We might not be talking about it, but also nobody's gonna forget this. Like,
oh yeah, this is definitely one of those like stapled times of our lives now.
Yeah. Yeah, you put food coloring in the water.
Yeah, even if nothing else like comes from this, it's ridiculous enough that we'll be able to look back. Remember when they tried doing this thing? Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's, I don't know, the balls, I guess, the fucking audacity to be like, we want to charge people for the pirated copies that people are stealing from you. We want to charge you 20 cents because somebody stole from you.
Someone, yeah. It's your fault.
What? It's fucking insane. Here's another insane thing. This happens quite often. We just talked about Ubisoft. Ubisoft is in the news again. Ubisoft announces Tom Clancy's The Division 3.
Yeah.
Ubisoft has confirmed Tom Clancy's Division 3 is now in development at Massive Entertainment. Massive Entertainment is on a tear right now with games. They have Star Wars Outlaws coming. Yeah. They have that new Avatar game coming. They have another Division game, a mobile game coming. Huh. And now Division 3 has just been announced. A Swedish studio currently working on Star Wars Outlaws and Avatar's Frontiers of Pandora is the original developer of Division 1 and 2. Ubisoft said Massive is currently building a team for the third game in the series. Star Wars Outlaws creator Julian Geraghty, I hope I'm saying that right, has become executive producer for the Division franchise, which has nearly 40 million players across its titles. Geraghty will now oversee the Division games and products, including the Division 3. This announcement represents Ubisoft's dedication to longevity of the brand, Ubisoft said in a note to press. In his new role, Julian will drive the many interdependent production elements of Division brand in unified direction. This includes development oversight, operations, and creative vision together within the development teams around the world who are currently developing the mobile game Tom Clancy's The Division's Resurgence, Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland, and Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Currently will remain on Star Wars Outlaws for the launch to ensure that the game meets its intended creative vision, provides a great experience for players, Ubisoft added. There are only a few games that I can genuinely say blew me away for the first time I saw them, and Tom Clancy's The Division is one of them, greatly commented. I was immediately hooked, so like many others who are a part of the devoted player community, it's a privilege and honor to be able to continue to help build an incredible and unforgettable experiences in this amazing world with the most talented teams around the world, and I can't wait for what's next. This doesn't say anything about where this came from. This was a press release. This was just like, hey, fucking, we're hiring this dude. He's working on games. I guess one of those games is The Division 3.
Cool.
We haven't announced that yet, but here it goes.
Hey.
I don't know if this was public. They just leaked their own game. Division 3 was not confirmed, has not been talked about. They have 2 other Division games that haven't came out yet. Heartland.
They're already working on another.
Yeah. Heartland's a mobile game, and they have the other one. Free-to-play spin-off, Division Heartland, and then the mobile one is... I just read it. The Division Resurgence.
Yeah.
Is the mobile one.
That Tom Clancy. Just don't quit.
Tom Clancy is another one of those franchises that it's $1 billion, at least.
It's the Madden of war games.
Yeah, for sure. It is crazy that they keep pumping these out, but like, I feel like the last Tom Clancy game was not received well. Was Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yeah,
it was a bad game. But, like, The Division seems like to be the only Tom Clancy games that are coming out now. It's not even like Tom Clancy is the brand. It's The Division is the brand now. Because, like, we have Rainbow Six Siege, but, like, Siege is still going as Siege. I think Siege is 9 years old this year or something like that.
Yeah, it's
something insane. So, I do wonder what's next with The Division, but I also wonder what's next with Tom Clancy, like, or Splinter Cell.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Where's like
that.
all the weird shit, like Hawks and In War and all of these weird spin-off
just
things.
Found that niche,
yeah,
popular thing everyone wants,
and then keeps turning it out. There is that X Defiant game coming out, which was supposed to be a Tom Clancy's thing. But then they took the name off of that game because it doesn't look like a Tom Clancy game at all.
Interesting.
It's like, it's a Call of Duty clone for sure. It's like Team Deathmatch and all of that stuff, Warzone and everything, except it's very much of the Rage 2 aesthetic with like punks
like
and
Mad
mohawks,
kind of
yeah, bright colors mixed in with browns and grays, like yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very punk rock
like a
attitude.
Post-apocalyptic kind of feel.
X Defiant, the A in Defiant was the anarchy symbol.
Yeah,
that vibe.
Okay.
Yeah. But that game people have said is really good and like closed betas and stuff. But that's another game that got announced a long time ago, it seems like, and just hasn't came out yet, and I feel like we're hearing less and less about it, which I mean I guess makes sense, but it's had closed betas and stuff. Like, people have played this game.
Yeah.
So it'll be super interesting to see what happens. We saw this headline last week. I'm not fucking dealing with this, dog. Hold on. Not dealing with this shit. annoying. Can't do it. We saw this headline at last week, and I said that's crazy. Dead Space co-creator Glenn Schofield leaves Callisto Protocol studio. He's one of 3 voluntary resignations. This is from George Yang on GameSpot. Striking Distance Studios CEO and co-founder Glenn Schofield is leaving the company less than a year after the release of its debut game, The Callisto Protocol. Furthermore, the studio's chief operating and chief financial officers are leaving too. According to Bloomberg and confirmed by Striking Distance Studios' parent company Krafton, Schofield has decided to pursue new opportunities. Krafton also mentioned they missed an F. It's supposed to be Krafton, not Krafton. Krafton also mentioned that his new resignation has voluntarily, along with new chief officer Stacy Arata and chief financial officer Johnny Sues as well. Basically, the rest of the story reads as, hey, the game didn't do as well as what we wanted it to, and it didn't come out exactly the way that they wanted it to, I guess, I would say. Oh yeah, there's also this part. Striking Distance Studios laid off more than 30 staff back in August, possibly due to the poor critical reception and commercial sales of the Callisto Protocol. This isn't the first studio to implement these kinds of layoffs. Earlier this month, Ascendant Studios laid off almost half of its staff to Memorial Stadium. The Callisto Protocol, on trying without needing to buy it. Our 5 out of 10 Callisto Protocol review emphasized the strength of the art and sound, but clunky and uneven combat hampered what could have been a standout survival horror experience. Nevertheless, horror fans should check it out to see if it clicks with them. Basically, yeah, this game didn't sell as well as what they thought. Didn't make its money back.
Yeah.
I think it did, it still sold 2 million units. It did, that's pretty good for a debut game from a studio. There's nothing going for it other than it was originally part of the PUBG universe, and then it wasn't anymore.
Right.
And then, of course, Glenn Schofield was Dead Space. But also, they released that game a month before Dead Space Remake. Also, they released a game that wasn't as good as Dead Space.
Right,
So,
and then Dead Space came out again.
Yeah, and then Dead Space came out again and ate its lunch. It's a bummer, because I was really excited for Callisto Protocol. I mean, all of my reactions to all of those announcements are on the channel. As a horror fan, it seemed like it was going to be different.
Yeah.
And then I think that was the one, I don't remember where they revealed that, but I think that's the Summer Games Fest last year that we watched, and they announced 10 other space horror games right after it as well. There was that one with Troy Baker and stuff that just came out recently that also got really bad reviews. I think that's called Fort Solace. There was a couple of other space horror games as well. I can't remember. And then Amnesia was shown off that week. That was a crazy week for horror. But yeah, it seemed like Callisto Protocol was going to stand out.
Yeah.
And it just ended up falling short. Apparently the game controls Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. The way you fight and stuff like that.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's super strange. A lot of melee stuff and a lot of dodging with the analog stick kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played it, so I want to play it because of that. The control's weird. But I don't know.
It doesn't sound ideal.
Yeah, and because of the reviews, like, I never jumped into it because it was like, oh, well, there's good horror games out, and there's plenty of good horror games that I haven't played yet.
Yeah, even in space, I still have options.
Right, right. Even made by the same dude.
Right.
I have better options. So, like, I don't know. It is a bummer to have people lose their jobs, but, like, I'm sure there'll be another studio soon that he'll make. It is weird that they have this one failure and then they leave. But, like, 2 million copies isn't a failure. I don't know what their marketing budget was. I don't know what the budget was for the game in general.
Yeah, that seems like that should have at least been a pass.
Yeah, that's a crazy amount of copies. Like, and Nintendo's a bad example now, but, like, most Nintendo games that they're remaking have never hit that much, you know? Metroid
Right.
Prime Remastered sold a lot. I don't even think the new remaster sold that much. But Metroid Prime on the GameCube would have been like 1.1 million units, if that, you know? Like, player hits labels for, like, fucking, you know, GameCube used to be 250,000 copies, and PlayStation was like 400,000 copies for their greatest hits labels. So, like,
Right.
2 million copies not being enough is kind of sad to see where the video game industry is. And that's...
Yeah, like, what is the new target?
Yeah, right?
Like,
especially at $70 per game. You
yeah,
know?
yeah, no, absolutely. That's...
Like, obviously, we've hit a point where a lot of these big budget titles that people are trying to pump out are just not viable because of what they're asking. It would be one thing if it was like Sony, you know, that PlayStation with Spider-Man 2, that budget is fucking insane.
Oh, of course.
But also that's Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it's a superhero Marvel.
It's not the Callisto protocol based off the PUBG universe.
Yeah.
It's so strange that you would think that your game would even sell above 2 million units. I guess that's the hope, but it is.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, like, selling that many and being like, oh, man, we gotta fire some people.
Right. I guess it just didn't make its money back. I don't know.
They must have put everything in it or something.
Yeah, and then you even have, like, fucking... I don't know how much you pay for Arthur Morgan or whatever. Or no, that was Fort Solis. Fort Solis also has fucking cowboy dude in there. And that's, again, they were shown right after each other, so that's their own damn fault.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, that Fort Solis game got really bad reviews, and it's interesting because it's acting chops wise, is Troy Baker, and the dude who plays John Marston, or not John Marston, fucking Arthur Morgan in Red Dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and that was
interesting.
That was the Jeff Keighley thing where they were on stage, and then he mentioned like the butthole joke, and then everyone was like, what?
Yeah.
This is the big one for today. This is like the headline of the week. This is pretty shocking. It's from Ethan Gach from Kotaku. PlayStation boss Jim Ryan is retiring. The CEO is leaving after only 4 years as the head of the gaming powerhouse. The head of PlayStation is stepping down. Sony announced in a press release today Jim Ryan, Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO, is retiring just after 4 years on the job. The massive shakeup in leadership comes as the PlayStation 5 breaks sales records and Sony has doubled down on prestige blockbuster games like The Last of Us Part 1 and Marvel Spider-Man 2. That's a quote from him. After 30 years, I've made the decision to retire from SIE in March 2024. I've relished the opportunity to have a job I love in a very special company, working with great people and incredible partners. but I found it increasingly difficult to reconcile living in Europe and working in North America. Ryan will officially leave the position April 2024. Hiroki Totoki, Sony Group Cooperation President, COO, and CFO, will help the transition and make the role of interim CEO of PlayStation once Ryan leaves. Will take on the role of interim CEO of PlayStation once Ryan leaves, so he's going to be like a sub-CEO. And will help with the research for his successor. The news was first reported by Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. I don't even know if it was... I guess it was counter-reported. The dude just tweeted. He was like, hey, breaking. Jim Ryan's leaving Sony. And then every single article broke out right after that. A 30-year veteran of Sony, Ryan was promoted to top of PlayStation jobs in 2019 after a reorganization saw head of CEO of Worldwide Studios Sean Layden step down, and President of Worldwide Studios Shuhei Yoshida transitioned to a more background role working with indie game titles. As a head of PlayStation, Ryan oversaw the launch of the PS5, which despite the pandemic-era shortages, is now on pace to break sales records thanks to an ongoing lineup of first-party exclusive blockbusters like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. His tenure also included the launch of PSVR 2, as well as a major pivot by subscription services to PS Plus to more directly compete with Xbox Game Pass, Netflix-like library of games. The unexpected departure comes just a couple months after Sony signed a 10-year agreement with Microsoft to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation following the tech giant's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Despite a vicious regulatory fight in the U.S. with the Federal Trade Commission and the U.K. with Competition and Markets Authority, both of which included testimony by Ryan, the historic deal is likely to close in the beginning of October. I guess that's the end of the article. I was hoping to have more quotes from him. Jim Ryan joined Sony Interact. Okay, this is kind of a backstory of everything. Yeah. Oh, we don't need to read any more of that. Jim Ryan's leaving PlayStation.
Yeah. But I mean, he was only in it a few years.
Right. And those 4+ years were very powerful years for PlayStation. Those were the launch of the PS5. I mean, PSVR 2 is kind of whatever. And they kind of put that thing out to die. The launch of the PS5 and the pandemic thing, like, Jim Ryan definitely got dealt a shitty hand during his tenure of what was happening outside of his control.
Yeah, for sure.
But the dude made PlayStation know what it is now. I mean, Sean Layden as well. Sean Layden was a great... We loved Sean Layden as CEO of PlayStation. He was always on stage. He was the Reggie Fils-Aimé of PlayStation for a very long time. Jim Ryan is not as public facing when it comes to like the showcase and stuff. I did bring this one in here because as B-roll, because this is the showcase. It's the only time when Jim Ryan will show his face in one of these things. Other than that, Jim Ryan's more of a on stage or talking to people about statistics and all of that kind of stuff. It's not the most interesting news, but it definitely is definitely sad. It'll be weird to see where PlayStation goes after.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, how do they
pivot?
Go about like picking a new guy and
right. Yeah, I don't even know like what made Sean Layden stand, because Sean Layden, or not Sean Layden, Jim Ryan was already working for PlayStation when Sean Layden was CEO.
Yeah.
And then when Layden left, Jim Ryan took that mantle on. It looks like they don't have a next predecessor. or something. It looks like, hey, we're going to put our CFO in a sub CEO role for, so the dude will be CFO, COO, and CEO.
Well, if it was so sudden, I mean, they might not have had.
Yeah, which
they weren't aware they even needed to have someone else.
Right. I mean, his last day is April 2024, so there's still almost a year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he still has plenty of time.
But
a lot can happen between now and then. He could change his mind.
Right. Yeah, I doubt. The dude is old.
Yeah.
The dude's like probably later 60s.
Oh, yeah.
I'd imagine like you're at the top so high that you can't do anything more, and you're at an age now where like you got to think about like, you know, living the last of your golden years kind of thing,
that's true.
And enjoying it instead of being on stage and doing all of these things. I mean, he said it himself, he lives in Europe and flies to North America for work.
Yeah.
that will age you faster.
That's exhausting.
Than most things.
Right, yeah, just the airport stuff adds 10 years to your life, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're flying out once a week, twice a week, 10 times a month, you know?
Yeah, all the jet lag and...
Yeah, and that's just to Sony. That's not even like fucking the showcases, Summer Games Fest, like Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show. Like, there's so much shit happening all the time. Imagine that job was very tiring. And good on Jim Ryan for getting out before, you know, fucking up.
Yeah, true.
The dude had a good career and is leaving with a good career. PlayStation 5 is the top selling console. PlayStation 4 ended as the top selling console.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be sad to have Jim Ryan go. I am excited for the future of PlayStation. It makes me concerned about what this showcase was that's playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because the future of PlayStation is a lot less... I mean, it doesn't... They never said it would be a lot less single-player focused games, but there is a deliberate move to go on to more live service kind of things.
Yeah.
With buying Bungie. They just bought an audio company recently. I meant to have that up, but that was Sony Entertainment proper and not PlayStation that bought the thing. But it's for audio with the consoles, you know.
For sure.
But they're trying to go on have more online service games. They bought Bungie, so they own Destiny now. Bungie's making a new marathon game, which is like their version of Tarkov. Yeah. And then we got fucking Helldivers and Concord and all of these other multiplayer games. Speaking of Concord right here. I don't know what the next CEO is going to be left with and where they're going to push it forward.
Yeah. Will he keep that going or switch it up? I don't want to
lose the prestige first party like single player games. I don't think we are, but I do think we are going to see a lot more of the multiplayer side of things, which is not for me, unfortunately. But
yeah, I mean, I like a couple, but no, I prefer the single player. Just
the God of Wars.
Get lost in my own little world or whatever.
Yeah, I just said Last of Us and Marvel Spider-Man 2, but
yeah.
Jim Ryan also oversaw, like Destruction All-Stars, the launch PS5 party game that wasn't great, or fucking Gran Turismo movie just came out.
Yeah.
People actually said it's good. I'm surprised how good people have said it is, other than the one thing that we talked about with the car crash.
Yeah.
But everything else, people have said it's a good movie, so that's interesting. I would like to see it. I think it's the Ford versus Ferrari dude, which that was a good movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think so.
I'm sure it's good, especially if you're just like into racing.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
And that game in general.
Yeah, or the real life story.
Yeah, I'm sure the story is, yeah.
Yeah. News-wise, that's all I got. We talked about games we've played. Anything else, Patrick? It's a shorter episode this week, but I think, it's going to be probably a few short episodes until we start getting deeper into the Game of the Year talk and everything like that.
No, I can't really think of too much. Like I said, the only games I played was Lies of P and Party Animals.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even put out a lot of videos this week either. The only video, I think, other than the podcast I put out was an Elden Ring episode.
Yeah. Yeah, last week was...
We did 2 episodes last week.
I had 3 shows last week.
Oh,
so between that and then work, I was just sleeping and...
Yeah. Well, I mean... Yeah, we did 2 episodes last week.
That too, yeah, we also did 2 episodes.
But then, the only videos I've put out is, I got an Elden Ring episode up, and then episode 3 of Home Buddy is up now. I'm probably end up playing more of that today. I have not had a day off since last Thursday.
That's true. You've also been working.
Yeah.
Your new job.
Yeah, delivering pizzas and stuff. There's Jim Ryan right there.
Yeah, he does look like he should go. He does look like that age where he like still kind of has his senses.
Right.
And he wants to enjoy them before they're like become senile. Yeah.
Yeah, understandable.
That makes sense.
It's definitely like no ill will, no being pissed off. It's like, yeah, dude. You did it.
Yeah. Go buy that yacht.
Yeah. Go fucking live on an island somewhere.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Mai Tais and kick back, Fuck. Spider-Man 2, that was another thing we could have talked about. People had hands-on demos this week with Spider-Man 2. Who would have guessed it plays like Spider-Man? It's crazy. People also had hands-on with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah.
Over the week, and Alan Wake 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. People said that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is great. The demo is not good.
Yeah, we talked about that because it's just like too open.
Yeah, and there's not like the mini games or anything in there.
Yeah, none of the new stuff is in the new demo, so it's like. I could have just played the old game, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you don't want to play the new game or the old game, like go play that demo. That original Final Fantasy VII remake demo, it was great.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
But Alan Wake 2 looks great too.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
It's soon. It's real soon. I think it's the last week of October. That's probably one of the more highly anticipated games for me. But I don't have a PS5, so I'm not gonna be playing it anytime soon. But you can support the channel with the links down below. There's a store.
Yeah.
Go buy some Pokemon cards.
Or just buy us a PS5.
Just
send it directly to us.
You can send us the Cash App. I still have not fucking done the Patreon or anything, but I made several new social media accounts this week.
Yeah, I've seen you've been trying to keep up with the times.
Yeah. So
all these new platforms and stuff. It's funny because I did the opposite. I just deleted my Twitter. I was just like, I'm done.
So now you can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me on Threads. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Mastodon, Twitch, YouTube, everything. Patreon's the next thing to set up. Ko-Fi is another thing that we want to set up. I don't know what's going to be the future of the podcast on my channel. I think I kind of want to put our podcast on a different channel.
Yeah.
And then just have both of us have access to that. We'll talk about that another day, but there's definitely something I've been kicking around in my head of like keeping these things separated because I think my channel might be blacklisted or something you know, it's really hard to find my videos unless if you look specifically for me.
Huh.
And I wonder if that's because of choices of titles that I've used in the past and everything like that.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah.
I don't block out curse words in my titles or anything. So there's plenty of videos that just say fuck and stuff like that. And
Right.
and those automatically get age restricted. And I don't know if you get like a certain amount of age restrictions, do you become blacklisted? I don't think so, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have PlayStation, Xbox, and stuff like that. They age restrict all their M-rated trailers.
Right.
So I don't think that's the case, but I don't know. I'm not a algorithm wizard as much as I would love to be.
Yeah, half the time they don't even seem to make sense
No.
with what they apparently go by. So
Yeah, dude. That's why I stopped promoting for so long, was because like I was getting the same amount of views regardless of if I was promoting it or not, because it was most of my views come from the algorithm just putting my videos in front of people.
gotta get a TikTok.
Yeah, I do have a TikTok.
Even like
don't have any videos
even like
on it.
nothing. Even posting like little bare minimum content
Yeah.
gets hella views, and then one person gets like I posted. I'm just kind of getting into it now, just because I rarely ever think about it. But Kenya's really into TikTok, so she sends me a bunch, which reminds me about it, which and then gets me. It falls down the rabbit hole, and then I'm like, I want to do it.
Maybe I'll have you in charge of like doing podcast clips or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I could do that. But that's probably like the next direction we should go as well, because even if it's just like I posted like a quick 2-second joke on there and got like 1,000 views.
Oh fuck yeah.
2 new followers.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything since then, but I feel like consistently that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, for sure. Because like even one podcast clip a week and like one clip of whatever from my channel a week would be enough to keep that going. It's just adding it into my daily, grind.
Yeah, it's just another thing that you gotta.
Right, and I gotta be conscious about it when I'm editing now. Of like clipping.
What do you
things.
consider a clip? Right? Yeah. Like
Yeah.
what do you?
Elden Ring is pretty easy because it's just bosses, like getting clip out
That's
boss
true.
fights and stuff. Pokemon's pretty easy because I can just take one pack out of like 10 packs that I do in one video
Yeah.
and clip that out and stuff. I do have a TikTok though, so you can follow me there, MrBenShow on TikTok. Patrick is Patastic.
I think I'm still.
Are you?
I can't change my name until October 1st,
Oh, okay.
so I'm still Patrick Swayze until then.
Okay.
I don't know why. I think I like tried to change it and I did, but like something happened within the app, like it glitched or something. So then it thought that I changed it back, or I don't know. What either way, you can only change your name so many times
Yeah.
in like a time period.
Yeah, they don't.
So
want to,
they were like,
spam
"You've
shit.
already changed your name. You gotta wait." So now I'm just like waiting to. So.
Yeah, I think Facebook had that same thing. Twitter now,
Yeah.
if you change your name, it fucking breaks your whole shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick changed his name on Twitter, and now you can't find him on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't even use it really. So
Yeah, I can't look you up on Twitter.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and whether it's Patastic or Patrick Swayze or Litterdud or any of those names, I can't look it up.
That's weird.
Yeah, if I didn't have a link saved in my notes for your Twitter, I wouldn't have been
Right.
able to find it. It's that was when Elon Musk took over. That was like the first thing that got fucked up in the whole thing was like name changes.
Yeah.
It's like I'm sick of people changing their name into Elon Musk, and so you block name changes, and then it's just been fucked up ever since. But yeah, follow me on all the social medias. Follow Patrick on all the social medias. His link tree is down below. You can also find out what shows he's gonna be next.
Yeah, that's on there. I post the ticket links and stuff.
Yeah.
So if you live close by or you just feel like taking an airplane.
Yeah. Patrick does a lot of shows in Mass, so if you're in the Mass area, you can always go out and see him. What else? Yeah, store. Use the code down below. Save $10 off your first purchase. If you sell items on Mercari, you can. I think you get like $50 or something like that after your first 100 or something. Something like that. And then you can use that code and use it anywhere on Mercari. You don't have to use it on my store specifically. Either way, if you just use that code, it helps me out. Yeah, we need a PS5. We need microphones. We need a mixer. We need a bunch of things. So support the channel, and it will help us get that. That is it for today. It's not a super long episode, but I mean, that's like an hour 20, so it's really not that bad.
We covered the week. I mean, we did do a pod like
5 days ago.
5 days ago, yeah. And 2 within that week.
Yeah,
so
we did. It said 9 days and 5 days ago.
It was, yeah. I was gonna say we did 3 podcasts in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, and the big thing this week was Jim Ryan leaving, and that wouldn't have been on the news docket if it didn't happen at like 9 p.m. last night.
Yeah, and the Unity thing only became less interesting. So. Yeah,
it just became less interesting. Well, I'm sure there'll be some news next week about that. We'll see.
Yeah.
And they might be dark on it for a little bit, but 2024 is coming up fast. It's supposed to kick in January 1st, so we'll see.
Yeah, right. That's
very soon.
It's right there. Yeah.
Very soon. I imagine there's some big games coming out next week, so we'll talk about those when they come out. I don't have a list in front of me to say what those games are.
Yeah.
But there's big shit coming out almost every single week up until the end of the year.
Nice.
So,
that's exciting.
Yeah. October is fucked up how many games are coming out. I mean, you got Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, and fucking... or something else. Mario comes out the same day as Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. That's a hefty month right there. Well, we'll leave it there, and we'll be back next week. That being said, guys, I'm MrBenShow. This is my channel. This is Praise the Run, episode 25. Patrick, you're a great co-host.
Thanks.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm not doing this by myself and just talking in front of a camera, because I could do that. It would be a lot less interesting. It's much more fun to have someone to look over to and be like, right? Yeah. Right? This is crazy. Yeah, definitely. We'll talk about like doing another co-stream kind of thing soon. I mean, we played through Doki Doki Literature Club not too long ago. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, well, that was like last Halloween. Yeah, it was our last horror. It was like a horror game thing we did. Yeah. There's definitely a couple of games that I have in mind for the next one of those. They're not going to be themed around anything, but it'll probably be a horror game. Nice. Those are fun. It was a lot of fun. I like playing horror games with someone in the room. Right. So that's always good. Yeah, it's a lot less oppressing when there's somebody there. Yeah. I played through Outlast not too long ago, and that was oppressive. That game. Yeah. I forget how gross you feel halfway through that game, sneaking around and stuff. What a weird game. I gotta play through the rest of those. Well, peace out, Cubs Cats. It's been fun. It's been real. Take it easy. Bye.